Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from deltiasgaming.com. In today's video, trying to min-max my Stamplar a little bit better, figuring out what is the best gear set for the way I play in Cyrodiil PvP. I don't want to use any 5-piece proc sets. I want to use a 5-piece damage set along with my salines for max burst, agility, and 2H maul. So pretty simple build. For the way I play, I like a lot of healing. I like a lot of resource sustain, but you can get that through Repetence. So that's what I'm going for. There's 3 options that I think are really strong right now. Number 1 would be Automatons or Hulking Draugr. Automatons gives you a nice health bonus, tons of weapon damage, but the problem is the 400 weapon damage doesn't apply to self-healing like Hulking Draugr. The nice thing about the 400 weapon damage is that it does apply to targets that have damage shields, so it'll be really nice. Plus the extra health can be very good if you're going for a tanky setup. Hulking Draugr, on the other hand, is just simple max stamina to the max. And why is that useful? Well, a lot of our abilities, specifically Power of the Light and Repentance, scale off of max stamina. So the last thing to throw in there is Spriggans. And Spriggans is really nice, really good max stamina, weapon damage, and physical penetration. Physical penetration is really good on medium armor builds, and that's what we're using. And the reason is, well, medium armor doesn't have any passives that amplify it like light armor does. So it could be a strong setup. Downside to Spriggans is, number 1, the 5-piece does not affect targets that have damage shields, nor does it affect the healing that you're doing to yourself or others. So, Hulking Draugr, Spriggans, or Automatons, what hits the hardest? What heals the most, and what is probably going to be the most effective for the way I play my Stamplar. Alright, we're going to use the dressing room add-on, and first thing first is get a look at our max stat values. So I'm not going to have any buffs running, nothing like that, just unbuffed stats. So I'm using the Warrior Mundstone. I'm on an Orc, so I get max health and max stamina as a bonus. So I'm sitting at 37,000 magic, 19k health, and that's with no prismatic enchants on my chest or legs, and using Automaton setup with the Warrior Mundstone. I'm at pretty decent weapon damage here, unbuffed, though you could get it higher, 0 stamina recovery, and I'll kind of talk about why I run 0 stamina recovery on a Stamplar later on. Overall, this looks pretty good. You're probably going to have to use Bystat food if you want max damage, but max health and stamina recovery if you want a lot of survivability, and you could always switch to Troll King. So I'm using a 5-1-1 setup, 5 medium armor, 1 light, 1 heavy to get big stat pool. Go take a look at Spriggans, and we're bumping up to 39,000 stamina, which is quite a bit since we get 1 extra piece, though we don't get the extra health benefit. So I don't have prismatic enchants on this, nor is it gold. Also, the weapon damage bonus is not going to show up in the tooltip. Well, that's okay, because we get that extra penetration, so we will do a lot of damage. Spriggans looks like a good balance between the max stamina set and damage overall. Lastly, we have Hulking Draugr. Now, I did gold this out, and I did make it prismatic on the chest and legs, along with the helm, 5-1-1. So what this does is less weapon damage, obviously, we're trading that off, but we have almost as much health and quite a bit more as max stamina. So it gives me an idea that, well, it might not hit that hard consistently, but the burst potential with Power of the Light will definitely be there. Since Power of the Light, if y'all don't know, stores up damage and explodes, but it's based off your max stamina. So if you're going to go for a Power of the Light build focused on killing a target when the explosion goes off, this would be a good set for that. Also, if you run 0 sustained and there's corpses all over the place, Repentance based off max stamina. So you could also run a setup with Hulking Draugr similar to that. So let's go ahead and see what these hit for on a target dummy, which, keep in mind, has roughly 18,000 resistance. And this is obviously an NPC, not a player, but just to get a rough idea. The standard combination that I've been using in PvP with some effectiveness is using Power of the Light, which is scaled off of max stamina. So that's why I'm thinking Spriggans is going to be really good for this. You know, stampeding in and then using Crescent Sweep right as that's about to explode. So we're going to keep Rally up, and just to kind of show you how I do this, fully charge heavy, and I let go, Power of the Light, crit rush in, do 1 jab, that goes off, and then Crescent Sweep, right as those 2 things blow up. So first setup, we're going to have Automatons, and it does really good damage. So you can see biting jabs, the 3 things I want to focus on: crit, 6,300, Power of Light is 2,200, and Crescent Sweep is 2,800. So good damage. Spriggans is our next set and produces the most damage with the Crescent Sweep. As you can see, it hit really hard, 28.9. Power of Light, very similar to Automatons, and Jabs did hit a little bit harder, but it was by far the hardest Crescent Sweep using Spriggans. Last up, we have Hulking Draugr, and it performs well on one ability, and that's Power of Light. You can see here, Biting Jabs was the lowest, Crescent Sweep was the lowest, but Power of Light did about 3,000 more damage than the others. And also Salines did a good amount too, keeping up with Automatons. So if you're going for a burst build against tanks or healers, Power of Light is your best bet because it doesn't crit no matter what. Now we're going to do another really good test, which is healing. Because remember, the 5-piece of Automatons and Spriggans is not going to apply to your self-healing. So we're going to get Major Mending Up, Rally, and we can see we're doing about 4k crits on Echoing Vigor, and about 2.7 on our Rally just heal over time, which is pretty good for a Spriggans 5-piece. Going to throw on Automatons here and check out the self-healing, and it's by far the weakest. So with our Major Mending Up, Rally Up, we're looking at about 2.6k Rally crits, and Echoing Vigor is hitting us for about 4,000. So this is the weakest in terms of self-healing of all the other sets. And now where Hulking Draugr shines, and that is self-healing. So it's not a dramatic increase, but with our stuff up, we're at 4.2k crits on Echoing Vigor, and about 2.8 with a Rally crit. So it really shines in the self-heal category. But that's not all, folks. Another thing we have to factor in is repentances and what they give us back. So as you can see here, 3,800 on Automatons. We put on Spriggans, get that extra stamina. Got 3,900 on the tooltip. And then bang ski once we put Hulking Draugr on. Come on, Delta, click it. Look at it. 4,200. That is a big improvement. Alright, so my conclusion on what I'm going to wear. I think I'm going to wear Hulking Draugr. So what you can do is, Automatons is really nice, flexibility, and it has the max health bonus. So that's really nice. But what I think it lacks, that Hulking Draugr provides, is a little more burst. So sustained damage on Automatons is better. Biting Jabs, that sort of thing. But if you're going for the Power of Light Crescent Sweep combo, the extra stamina makes Power of Light hit a little bit harder. 2k, about 25,000 damage, so in PvP maybe 1,000 or so, depending on mitigation, all those different factors. So if you're going for those instant burst kills solo, Hulking Draugr pretty much is the way to go, because Spriggans was pretty much roughly the same. Added benefit of Spriggans Hulking Draugr setup is that, guess what? Those 5 pieces apply against attacking a shielded target. I think the reason Hulking Draugr wins for me is the reason that it heals. Vigor, your Rally, all those things that you're doing, and your repentances are monster. If you're going to play solo, what I would recommend doing, if you're not going to use Automatons that has that extra health bonus, chanting your large pieces with prismatic glyphs. So that'll give you a little more health, a little more magic, a little less stamina, but it still will be a lot more than what you would get with Automatons. Plus, you would make up for the health. So the best bet to go with, and that's what I'm going to go with for my PvP Stamplar build. I'm glad I did this video because I honestly didn't know, and I wanted to get some data here for you. So let me know what you guys use, and remember, this is non-proc sets. I don't like proc sets. I'm not going to use it besides my 1 Salines. So if you like the Viper and stuff like that, those are great, but realize that the 5 pieces aren't going to apply to your healing done or to your allies as well. So if you're like me and you want to use a solid 5 piece, let me know what are you guys using for damage 5 pieces.